Dr. Yoni Whitten here, and this week we're going over one simple but super effective way to strengthen your back and improve your posture. Let's get into this. The exercise that we're going over today has several different names. Very commonly, you'll see it listed as YTWL. And the reason why I chose this exercise is because there's so much misinformation floating around out there about how to do this movement. And I think it's almost become like a game of telephone at this point, where a message that starts off one way, as it gets passed from person to person, it becomes distorted, and the final message ends up being quite a bit different than what it started off as. So I wanted to make this video to set the record straight. To get the full benefit from any stretch or strength training movement, it's important that you have a clear understanding and a picture in your head of the muscles that you're targeting. So for YTWL, the main muscles that we're going after are the mid and lower trapezius and the rhomboids, which sit underneath the trapezius. Now, if you'll look at these images, you can see very clearly that all of these muscles attach to the spine, they run out horizontally and anchor to the shoulder blades. The reason that this is so important is because for any form of strength training to be maximally effective, the resistance has to be positioned in direct opposition to the muscle fibers that you're trying to work. You often see YTWLs being taught like this nowadays. From a standing position, you'll take your arms and put them into the shape of a Y. Elbows straight, squeezing your shoulder blades back and down. You'll then take your arms and put them into the shape of a T. Arms straight out to the sides, squeezing your shoulder blades straight back. Then you'll take your arms into the shape of a W, again squeezing the shoulder blades together. And finally, you'll tuck your elbows into your sides and push your arms backwards, again, squeezing the shoulder blades, making an L with each arm. It's perfectly acceptable to work on your form and get the specific technique down for each of the four arm positions while in a standing position. But remember, the purpose of YTWLs is to build up and strengthen the muscles in between your shoulder blades. Those muscle fibers have a horizontal orientation. So when you're in a standing position, there is effectively zero resistance being placed on the muscles that we're trying to target, which makes performing YTWLs from a standing position almost a complete waste of time. Instead, what you need to do is get yourself into a prone position where those horizontally running muscle fibers are forced to work against the downward pull of gravity. So a bench for the YTWL is probably the best option. Legs are going to be extended straight back behind you. Your spinal muscles should be engaged so that you have a nice straight back. Head should be in line with your spine. Chin should be tucked. Arms are going to be straight out in front of you. I like to have a loose fist here with my thumbs pointing upward. Then you're going to go through your four positions, starting with the Y, making sure that you exhale as the arms come up. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds. Slowly return. Inhale down. Moving into the T, exhaling as you come up. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds. Slowly return, inhaling. Moving into your W. Keeping a nice long neck, squeeze for 1 to 2 seconds. Return, inhale. And into L. Elbows stay tucked on this one. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds. And slowly return. Now, if you found being straight down too intense and you can only get 1 or 2 repetitions, then maybe you need to start with less resistance. And the way to do that is really simple, especially if you've got a bench with an adjustability feature like this. All you're going to do is adjust that bench closer to that standing upright position, which we've already established has zero resistance on those muscles. And so in this position, you've effectively cut the resistance by almost 50%. So from here, you would go face down, tuck the legs back behind you so that your torso stays in line. Again, chin tucked, and you're just going to move through your positions. From there, you would move through all of the positions. The thing to remember with an adjustable bench is that the higher you go, the less those muscles are in line with the pull of gravity, so the less resistance you have. So this is a great learning tool for getting your form down while still having some strain on those muscles. And the lower you go, the more difficult that exercise becomes because gravity is acting directly on our target muscles. Another great option for lining up those target muscles with the pull of gravity is to do your YTWLs on an exercise ball. So to do this, you're just going to go face down on the ball. Stomach should be pressed into the ball. Head is in line with spine. Postural muscles are engaged. Chin is down. Arms are straight out in front of me, thumbs pointing up. Feet need to be positioned wide apart so that you have a nice stable base. From here, again, those postural muscles working like crazy to prevent me from being folded in half. Then just move through your letters. Starting with the Y, exhaling hard as you come up. Elbows stay straight. Squeeze for 1 to 2 seconds. Slowly return. Inhale as you do. Moving into T. Keep a nice long neck. Squeeze for 1 to 2 and return. Inhale. Moving into W. Squeeze for 1 to 2. You can feel that as you move through the letter progressions, each one is less demanding. Finally, L, the least demanding of all. Squeeze for 1 to 2 and return. One thing to keep in mind if you're doing YTWL over an exercise ball is that your position on the ball will dictate the amount of resistance that you're feeling. So with the ball positioned low on my belly, you can see that my torso is running parallel to the floor, meaning those muscle fibers are directly opposing gravity. So this is an extremely challenging position to perform the movement in. Whereas if I drop back and position the ball high on my chest, now you can see that my torso is angled upward slightly, and doing YTWL from here is significantly easier. And that's definitely something that you want to keep in the back of your mind, that you can modify the YTWL exercise to make it easier or more difficult simply by changing the alignment of your body and the relationship of the target muscle to the pull of gravity. One final option for those who don't have access to a ball or a weight bench is to perform the YTWLs from a standing position with the addition of a hip hinge. So by adding the hip hinge, you can see here that I'm able to take those muscle fibers that run horizontally in between my shoulder blades and get them as much as directly opposed to the straight down pull of gravity here. So from here, I could perform my YTWLs with a ton of resistance. If I wanted to start off with less resistance, all I would do is start with way less of a hip hinge. The point is that by hinging those hips, you're actually putting the muscles that you're trying to strengthen under load. When you're first starting off with YTWLs, the most important thing by far is to concentrate on your form. You need to make sure that your head stays in line with your spine stays nice and long, your chin stays down, and that your arms move in the correct pathway for each of the 4 positions. As far as repetitions go, think 1 to 5 reps in each of the 4 positions. And then, as you become progressively stronger, you can add repetitions, work up to 10 in each position. Once you get to 10, you can drop yourself into a position where you're getting more resistance on those mid and lower traps. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you'll put the information to good use. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and toggle notifications to all. This way you'll receive an update every time a new video drops. And before you take off, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave it in the comment section down below. I check those every week. That's all for now. See you next time.